of the nation's leading cable and internet providers. Comcast staffers are working around the clock right now to keep people connected during this great shutdown of 2020. It is one of America's great companies. At Comcast's news division, NBC News, employees are mourning the death of a veteran staffer, Larry Edgeworth, who succumbed to the virus earlier this week. Other staffers are having to stay at home because they may be sick as well. At this hour, the President of the United States is attacking Comcast and trying to give it a new nickname. He's reacting to the governor of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, who is calling for federal resources, federal help making masks. Here's what the president tweeted a short time ago. He said, the governor and a small group of certain other governors, together with fake news CNN and Comcast, he's making fun of MSNBC there, should not be blaming the federal government for their own shortcomings. We are there to back you up should you fail, and always will be. Is that reassuring to anybody? Let's bring back C Bernstein and Dan Rather. We were talking last hour about presidential leadership and what we've seen from governors versus the president. Dan Rather, your reaction to the president's latest attack against the media at a moment of national emergency.
Deep disappointment and recognizing it's absolutely disgraceful what he's doing. He's continuing to try to divide the country at the very moment when we need to pull together. This is unacceptable, and I think most Americans recognize it as such. But the larger picture here,
I think we might be having a little hard time with Dan's connection. We'll try to get his connection back. Look, we're having everybody from home today for their safety and for our safety, and we're going to be seeing this on television for weeks and months to come. You saw Anderson Cooper at home the other day out of an abundance of caution, etc. Let me see if we can get Carl back, though. Let's see if Carl's signal's working. Carl, we've seen these press briefings every day. The president oftentimes coming out, using these as like a new kind of a rally. There's been some calls for the press to stop broadcasting the daily briefings. What say you?
I think we need to broadcast them. He's the president of the United States. He deserves to be heard. And we need to say when he's lying, and he is a compulsive liar, much of what he says is untrue. He is still conducting a war against the truth instead of focusing totally on a war against a deadly plague. People of this country will respond to real leadership from this president if he provides it, and that includes the press responding. What the president is so exercised about is that the reporting has correctly shown that for 2.5 months he dawdled, he fiddled while Rome burned, that he was getting the intelligence, he was being urged, and 2 weeks ago, I heard from people in the national security bureaucracy and on the White House staff that the president's family, his friends, the NSC bureaucracy, his chief deputies in the White House were desperately trying to get him to understand this is not a hoax. This is a huge danger to the people of the world and the United States. And it has been a real struggle to get him to recognize that. As one person said to me, and I'm looking down to read it, he hasn't grasped the whole thing. We may be getting closer to it now. A lot of people were trying to get it to him, to shake him up, including in his family. That was 2 weeks ago. But now he obviously gets it. He sees what a danger this is, and at the same time, he seems unable to help himself. He can't help himself from going after the press. And the real story, the great stories that have been done in the past week by the Washington Post and the Wall Street Journal, which did 3 stories, all showing the lack of command that this president has of the facts of what he needs to know. He has not led with a competent response yet. But there is still time to catch up, and that's what he needs to do. He needs to lead this country, not to be conducting a war against the truth.
Yeah, lead or get out of the way. Dan, last word to you. I have about a minute left. Last word to you about how television anchors and other media leaders should be handling this moment.
Well, first of all, to do our job, which is to get the facts, report as many of the facts as possible, connect the facts. And I'm going to say, until and unless he proves differently, to pay far less attention to President Trump. I really regret having to said that, but he's not going to come to anybody's rescue. And the faster we realize that, the better off we'll be.
It's a very important point. There's a lot going on, and the health story is the most important of all. The hospital story is the most important of all. Carl and Dan, thank you for being with me both these hours. Let's take a quick break here. More reliable sources in just a moment.